this is Tom here with another Transformers review, and today we get to look at Maketoys MTRM-04 Ironwill. That's their not masterpiece Hardhead. And this guy is fantastic. There's one flaw with him that I don't like, but other than that, I love this figure. So we're not going to waste any time today. I want to get right into talking about his accessories and what he comes with, and then we'll get into his articulation and go through the transformation and all that stuff. So here we go. So to talk about his accessories, first of all, he comes with his instructions, which is pretty similar to Maketoys style. It's just the standard instructions. I haven't opened them up yet. His transformation is extremely intuitive. I got him today, and I was able to get through it in about 10 minutes. It's not that bad. But then he comes with these two guns, and these are his handguns, and they did a great job with them. They fold up like this for in the storage in his tank mode, and then when you want to use them in hand, they're like this. They have that same like butterfly peg type thing, so it slots into his hand. There's two of those. One thing I'd like to comment on is this pin right here is pretty loose, so it might need a little bit of future on there to try and tighten that up a little bit. This gun's identical, no difference there. There's one thing that comes on him that it's not on him in the box. This piece, this like the tank gun, or I mean, I guess it's just another gun. But this actually comes separate in the box. You have to attach that. But aside from that, he comes with a face, two different faces. So there's this one, which is like a more humanoid-looking face, and the paint on there is perfect. There's a little bit of dodginess there's some black on there in those spots. A little bit of dodginess in there, but other than that, it's perfect. And then it came with this other face sculpt, which is a little bit difficult to see, but the paint on the eyes right there is phenomenal. That blue, and then the accents in the grill of the face are just perfect. Also, the head is technically an accessory, but we'll get into that when we get into the transformation. But that's pretty much it for the accessories. We're going to get into his articulation so you guys can see his limits and whatnot. So to talk about his articulation, he's pretty similar to Coppola. He's got the same head motion. It's a little bit limited, and you can unpeg it and spin around to get better up and down. But you can also move the head joint out a little bit to get better articulation. Looks left to right. And that's about it. That's pretty much it for the head. So the shoulders can go this far up, which is amazing. That's fantastic. Nothing wrong there. They have the ability to rotate all the way around. They have a swivel at the bicep, and they have a double jointed elbow, but you have to work this one on the inside on your own, and then it does it like this. The sculpt on this is kind of bad because of the way they have this mounted. It's just not the most beautiful elbow, but I mean, it gets the job done. So the hands are on a swivel, and then they have a little bit of a hinging ability, very, very minute, but it's there. And then the treads also articulate, but that's okay. So there's two issues with him. So the first issue, I was going to talk about this in his articulation, but if you see the front of his chest moving, it didn't do that when I first got him. I opened up the box, and then there's two tabs under here that hold this in, and they don't completely tab in anymore. So they like to open up. That's kind of a bummer. That really sucks. It would have been nice if they did a little bit better job with that, but you know, all in all, mistakes are made. That's what happens. So to move on, it's a QC thing. They should have probably fixed it. But so the legs can go out this far. Perfect. No issue there. They have a swivel at the hip, which is perfect. That's optimum. That's the way you want it. They can go this far forward. This does not articulate, so they do get a little hindered, but if you move them out a little bit, they can go farther out, which is fine. I mean, you really don't need much more than that. And then if you do a little bit of moving with this backpack back here, with this, he can go quite far back. And I think this can actually, if you untab these and then move this up, it can go back even farther. But that's fine. The knees are amazing. That is so good, and they honestly don't look that bad. I thought that was going to look bad because it's got a similar style to how the arms are, but not bad at all. And then, so the feet have a little bit of a tilt, nothing too much, and they also have a pretty deep rocker. So that's also really, really good. Oh, and also he does have a waist swivel, and it's unhindered. I thought it was going to be a problem with this being here and this being here in the back. No problems at all whatsoever. Also, this gun can articulate. You can move this all over the place. It has tons of options for that. So we're going to get into transformation now, but first we're going to transform his headmaster. So his headmaster is really cool. I love the cupola one as well. It's one of my favorite things about the figure. So to do this, you just want to untab the legs, and they fold out like this, and then you just pop them apart, and then you just fold them down. And then what that'll do is actually force this upper part of the head sculpt to go up and cover up the face, and then just basically fold the arms out, and then you're good to go. So really quick, we'll do his articulation while we have him like this. The arms can go about that far. They don't really rotate too much. That's pretty much it. He has some movement at the elbows. No other rotations there. The head is locked in place. The legs are on a. They look like ball pegs, but they are. They're pretty hindered. They really can only go out about that far and then go forward about that far. They can go back, but then they hit the helmet. So the knee can bend, obviously due to articulation. It literally rotates over itself. There's nothing in the feet. But other than that, he's a great little headmaster, and I really like him. The paint on him is actually really good. They did a fantastic job. There's good accents on his legs. The face is painted really well. They actually have a little bit of red on his eyes, which is wicked cool that they were able to get that in there. But that's about it for him. We're gonna put him in the cab of the tank when we get to it. But we're gonna start with the transformation for the tank mode now. Okay, so for transforming this guy, I've found the best way to do this, the best way to get going, is to do the arms first, because they're the most simple part. So what you want to do is this panel right here, behind the wrist, lifts up. And I've tried this a couple different ways of rotating the hands in, and they're never super easy to handle. So I just try to put them in as little as possible, and then let this panel push them in, and it kind of works a little bit better. Then this will come back down and sit just like that. Really easy, and then the arm just goes up like this, and then you push it into place. And that's it for that arm. So now on this arm, we just lift up on this panel, rotate this in, let this kind of push it down so it doesn't go in too far, and then kind of articulate that out a little bit, and then that sits in just like that. And that's pretty much it for the front of the arm. Slide that up and in there, and you're good to go. So now the next thing we have to do is take this gun and get this out of the way. So that kind of sticks up like that. So then we can take his whole chest and lift it up, and then these arms are on a rocker right here. And this rocker will rock up and into place. And same on this side. And then that's into place. You're good to go. So now what we can do, this is actually the part that I prefer to do next, is undo these. These are tabbed into the actual tank part itself, the cab. So they come off, and they're on a rocker as well. And they rotate down, and then you can get them to sit right into here. And then there's if you look on, you can see it pretty well. There's a tab right here and a tab right here, and then there's corresponding ports on this. There's one right here and one right here. And this will articulate down, and then in order, because something I was really worried about at first is this moves a lot, but when you tab this in, it takes a little bit to line it up. We're going to tab it in right here first. Maybe that'll help. And then bring this arm to where it needs to go. Maybe now it'll behave a little bit better. Why is this giving me so many problems? Didn't give me... Oh, there we go. No, why is it not... There, got it. This wasn't up all the way. So that's something to watch out for. So now on this side, you have to do it a little bit differently. So this piece has to articulate out of the way. So we have to move that. And then we have to untab this from the cab. Rotate it down. We can then rotate this back. Rotate this forward. And we want to tab it in here. Come on. There we go. Got it to tab. All right, now we want to get the arm to tab into here. Okay, got it. That's a little finicky, but it does work pretty well. So now the next thing we want to do is this cab up here. We can rotate this around. The feet, just these tabs right here, just fold in. And then we want to lift up on this panel right here. And there is a panel on the inside of the leg that folds out. And then this panel on the front of the leg will fold this way. So now we can take the leg and we can articulate it out like this. And then this, there's a sliding mechanism in here that will allow it to slide up. So then we can take this, and there's a tabbing spot in here. It's kind of hard to show because it's so dark inside that cavity, but there's a tab on this leg piece right here, and that's going to tab directly into that. This tab there's a panel right here that has to rotate up out of the leg, and it's being hit by things. And then this will fold right on top of this. And there's a slot right here, and there's a peg right here on the leg, and that just pegs right into there. And now this foot it's on like a rocker for the rocker, and you can rotate this up, and then it will tab directly into there. This slides back down on top of it, and then you're good to go. So on this side, same thing. We want to lift up on this panel right here, rotate this panel out. Then we want to rotate this panel up from the front, articulate the legs out like this, tab that into there, flip this panel up, rotate this down, and then tab the leg in right there. We want to rocker the foot out and rotate it up, and then slide this panel back down on top of it. Now, this panel that I had to articulate out of the way because I did this wrong will tab into, there's slots in the back right there, and it will tab directly into here. And then we can rotate this into place. This guy will articulate across the back of the turret. It slides on a mechanism in there, and it's giving me problems still. There we go, got it. Then you rotate the gun so it's facing forward, and then this piece has a tab or a slot in it. If you can see it right on the top right there. And then there's a tab on this piece right here, and then if you get this to line up, it'll slide in and kind of lock that into place. And that right there is Ironwill in his tank mode. So I'm going to get him cleaned up, and we're going to get some accessories on him, and I'm going to put his headmaster into his cab, and then we'll talk about the tank mode. So for Ironwill's tank mode, there's really nothing that I dislike about this. I think they did an absolutely perfect job with this tank mode. The guns can mount here in this panel back here. There's the slot to mount the gun, and then there's also a spot on the top of the cab. And like I said before, they're loose, so they kind of move around, but if you get them set in there good enough, there's no problem. And then this, just like in the bot mode, has the ability to articulate anywhere you want it to go. The cab opens up, and then you can put the headmaster right in there, and he fits in there no problem. Just slide him right in, and then you're good to go. You can close it right up. This articulates, not too much though. It definitely gets hindered. There's a lot of things that it bumps into. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. The tank treads do roll. Man, they kind of get bound up. They're not super good. So that would have been cool. They roll, but I mean, they're not that great. It would have been cool if they kind of put some wheels on here. It's cool having working treads, but they don't work well. So that's kind of a bummer. The paint on here is really cool. This is stuff you don't see in bot mode, like these little accents on here. That's not in there at all. And then this is also to the back. And then you get all these accents that come out really well, and that's actual, that orange is actually plastic. So they did a really good job. Got a lot of nice silver paint in there too. It's all done really well, and this guy is really, really hefty. When I'm going to do a size comparison between him and Coppola and MP10, and I'm actually going to bring out a scale so I can tell you guys how heavy this guy is, because he is a beast. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into the, oh, actually, one thing I'd like to show off really quick. I totally forgot to do this in bot mode. But underneath here, you can see there's his tech spec thing. I totally forgot to show that off. I'm sorry about that. But there it is. So it's just underneath that panel right there. And that's on his chest in bot mode too, so you can do the same thing. But yeah, we're going to get into his the size comparisons now. All right, and just for a alt mode size comparisons, you guys can see, you know, how they stack up with MP10. We already know that these headmasters aren't like an identical scale, at least the Maketoys ones, from you know, what the current Masterpiece line is. And they're in bot mode, they're pretty close. I mean, they're where they should be, but they're a little big as far as the alt modes are concerned. It's okay though; it's not the end of the world. They, you know, they're kind of a different continuity, you know. So just to give you guys an idea what they look like with MP10, here they are in their alt mode, and so we're going to do a robot size comparison next. Okay, guys, and for the bot mode size comparison, still have Coppola, Ironwill, and MP10. And I think this works well. All in all, if you can deal with them being, you know, a little bit taller or the same height as MP10, you are not going to find a better representation of these headmasters. They're absolutely phenomenal. Ironwill is he's a beast. So really quick before we get into the final thoughts, I've got a scale, and actually just for here, let's zero this out. And it looks like MP10 comes in at like 14.3 ounces. And Ironwill is 1 pound, 4.3 ounces. And Coppola is 13.4. Sorry, I wasn't covering up the numbers, so you guys, I mean, you guys can't see them anyways. But just the light was making it hard to see. But yeah, I pretty much just wanted to do that just to give you guys an idea. This guy's he's a beast. I mean, they went all out. But we're gonna get into some final thoughts now, and we'll tell you guys what I think completely. So for final thoughts, I really don't have too many negative things to say about this guy. He has that one issue with his chest, which is a little bit of a bummer. The elbows look kind of funky. I'm not a big fan of the tire tread front of the legs, but other than that, he is a hulking beast. I mean, I can't believe how heavy he is. I assumed when I got him that it was going to be similar to the feel of Coppola. The joints feel better. I know there were a lot of people that were kind of weird about the joints on Coppola, like the upper hip, I think was, or the hip swivel was an issue. But this guy, everything feels phenomenal. I would 100% suggest going to get him. He's a little bit more expensive than Coppola, but I mean, I showed you guys the weight, and the weight of him is like, I think 8 or 9 ounces more. Man, this guy's he's insane. I have very little negative to say about him, and I'm extremely pleased with my purchase. Just, you know, get him wherever you can. Go grab him, enjoy him, because he's totally worth it. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm going to keep some more coming. I have Buzzing. I just got him. And it was kind of bad that I got him on the same day as this because I am super underwhelmed by him compared to how good Ironwill is. So if you guys really think that Buzzing is good, which he is good, this guy's way better. So go pick him up. He's well worth the money and the price difference. Thanks for watching. Talk to you.